So Helium One was started back in 2015. We have acreage in southwest Tanzania across two different basins, the Rukwa and Eyasi Basin. It was originally founded off the basis of geological surface helium seeps that were seen bubbling out of the ground in southwest Tanzania back in the 50s by a field geologist. And the co-founders of Helium One knew about these seeps and went out and pegged acreage in Tanzania to secure the footprint to go out and ultimately explore for helium.
What are the latest updates within your company? Any recent finds or project updates?
Absolutely, we've had a really busy year. The last 12 months has been the busiest period for Helium One since its conception back in 2015. We have successfully drilled 2 exploration wells. We've also acquired a drilling rig. The company struggled to secure an oil and gas type drilling rig sort of 18 months ago, which was proving problematic in drilling the right size boreholes and sort of evaluating these gas wells. Since purchasing that rig, we went on and drilled 2 successful wells. We've had a helium discovery whereby we've successfully flown 5.5% helium to surface. We've just recently completed an extended well test on that discovery well where we flowed up 7.9% helium. We have quite a unique system here in the southern Rukwa Basin whereby we have helium associated with nitrogen and water, so it's helium in solution, but we have no associated hydrocarbons, CO2 or H2S.
What challenges do helium startups have to deal with?
I think where we are globally in Africa presents its own set of challenges, particularly on the logistics front. Above ground, our areas are really quite remote. 4-hour drive on a dirt road from the nearest hardtop road. Bringing in all of the equipment. We have constrained supply chains. There isn't materials readily available. We've got to source them internationally and outside of Tanzania, which presents its unique set of challenges. So that by default of where we are geographically has its own set of issues. Purchasing the rig certainly ticked a big box. At the end of the day, we have a large logistical project on our hands with a well at the end of it, but ultimately that well needs to add value to the company, enable us to progress the project and ultimately develop a helium resource. So by advancing and learning and fundamentally overcoming these challenges, we're sort of edging a step closer to the success as we go, but it is a very steep learning curve. But I think really ultimately it's the logistical piece that catches us out.
With reference to the challenge of getting helium out of the ground and that being a challenging thing, when can we expect your company to start producing helium?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the recent success that we've had this year in our discovery at Itumbula West 1 that's had a very successful extended well test, flowing that over 5.5% sustained helium to surface. Off the back of that, we completed a very comprehensive, detailed feasibility study. That has been ongoing for many months now. It also has an environmental impact aspect to it, which had to be completed over a 6-month period. That feasibility study is now complete. We did that in-house, and it's been submitted along with a mining application to the Tanzanian government, which effectively will enable us to develop the project. So once that ML is awarded, we'll be able to crack on with development and move into that production phase. At the moment, we're anticipating to have first gas within approximately 12 months from when that ML will be awarded.
If you had a message or some advice for anyone starting out in helium exploration, what would it be?
That's an excellent question. I think be very open-minded. We've certainly, as a company, learnt a lot, drawn from expertise and skill sets from other industries, predominantly the oil and gas industry. But I think helium particularly as a gas and as an industry is really quite unique. It's niche. In my opinion, no two helium projects are the same. And there's fundamental learnings and takeaways from each of those projects. And I think going into a helium project with a single thought process is not the right attitude. I think as I say, you've got to be open-minded, creative with some of your ideas, particularly on sort of the subsurface side, understanding how this gas behaves, how it migrates through the subsurface. And I think a degree of resilience as well, not just for us in terms of the challenges we've faced in Tanzania, but just as a changing industry. The change in supply, the demand for helium, the uses for helium, it is fast evolving, and we need to be nimble and keep up with that pace.